Na'Vi did go a little deep in a couple of those team fights. It's still terrifying alongside that Sejuani. Lulu going to be banned away by the Unicorns here. And you can expect maybe more focus on those enchanters to deny the
Yuumi, Renata. What else is there? Maybe Karma? I don't think you have to dig that deep. But yeah, again, the enchanters are probably all going to be removed here. Don't want to see that one go through for either side, and maybe Winston will potentially default back to something like that. Amumu wasn't too bad in game number 1, right? I think just kind of struggled into the team composition. This time around, there's a lot less, you know, very irritating disengage options available. Unicorns removing away the Tom Catch. Really like that. Very smart to take that off the board when you have kind of long-range single target pick engage. Make sure you shut down the potential of White and just kind of saying, nope, gobble gobble. My AD carry. Heretics again, I think Yuumi just probably makes the most sense in this spot, right?
That's a very strange sentence.
I know it was very strange. You could have just run with it.
I could have, but I didn't want to, you know.
Okay.
Victor going to be banned away in the end, which means Yuumi is available. You've got a Zeri there as well.
Everybody boo Unicorns if they lock in Zeri.
I mean, look, it's highly likely that this comes up through. It's great on a Renekton as well. It's great on a Sejuani. And we'll see what their final pick will be. The Yuumi locked in as the boos come through in Twitch chat. But now over to the side of Heretics. They need a support for this Aphelios. Then they need a mid laner as well.
Yeah, support and a mid laner. The Victor ban spells to me, maybe they want to go back to the Swain, potentially. Of course, that matchup was pretty Ruby favored. He was winning it very hard in the early stages. Maybe it's just a call out to say, hey, you have a very strong front line, you have very strong scaling from the bottom. No, it's just for the Swain. All right, there you go. Never mind. And now let's see how Ruby will actually want to respond to the Swain now that the Victor rather is off the table. Could this be a flat angle?
I was going to say, I think you just take the Sylas,
because
right?
it's open, yeah.
It's like, I mean, Swain doesn't, you don't necessarily want to go into Swain, but when you're also Swain, does it matter?
No, exactly. And honestly, in my head, Swain ult might be one of the most broken ults in the game for Sylas to steal. Because one of the big things about Sylas is obviously those cooldowns, right? He's got sort of 4 to 5 second cooldowns, and especially when the Kingslayer is down, that level of survivability kind of drops, right? You kind of have to play that more kitey, you kind of have to wait out those CDs. If you have Swain ult, you just don't have to. So it does make for a very disgusting team fight. And not only that, see the cat in the bottom right-hand screen, everybody? That's going to be on top of a Sylas who's pretending to be a Swain. So it's going to get really nasty very, very quick. I'm liking what both the teams put together.
Yeah, feels like, once again, though, we've got two compositions that just want a big fist fight. You know, I'm hoping that they just line up in the river again and just agree to brawl like they did at the Baron, basically, in game number 1, because feels like both very close range compositions here. Could be plenty of space to show off mechanical skill as well. Ruby on the Sylas once again, though. I feel like this maybe should have been respected after game number 2 because he looked terrifying.
Yeah, I'm definitely quite surprised. But again, you know, the focus is so heavily towards the bottom side because all the enchanters were available. Surprised that the Yuumi went through, but hey, you know, everybody pick your poison, maybe? I don't know. Like, yeah, I'm just kind of confused why they let it go through. We'll see how it, you know, lines up. At the end of the day, they should have a fair amount of autonomy through the bottom lane, right? With the Leona, with the Aphelios, they should have a lot of pretty much first say to do whatever they want now.
I think that the way that Heretics, the way I see it at least, the way they're approaching this is like, you're going to pick Yuumi, we're going to pick Leona. Get ready to be dived. Because that was the old school way of dealing with a Yuumi, right? Just dive her over and over again. And I feel like, you know, Zeri not very good at clearing those waves in the early game. Lurox is going to have to kind of babysit this bottom lane a little bit if he doesn't want Shiganari to get dived over and over. But Lurox wants to be playing up towards Scarface where he has a Renekton alongside his Sejuani. So I feel like it's kind of a conflict of interest here for Lurox. That's not really what that means. But
no.
Multiple places that he needs to focus.
Yeah, sure. Decisions. Lurox, what will you make for this early game? And I think it's also a little bit on Scarface to see how he manages the wave. It seems for now, Lurox is going to be starting on the top side. And I also want to note, Lurox has taken Aftershock into Trundle. Very small, I know, but giving Trundle all of those extra stats, and let's not forget it, works multiplicatively. Got it on the first try.
Nice.
The more stats you have, the more you technically lose and give to Trundle. And if you go so high, eventually the Trundle ult, once you drop off the Frost Armor and the Aftershock stats, you just go into negative resist and you just get bloody blown up. So we'll see whether or not that ends up happening a lot, because I've seen many a Trundle press their R key on an Aftershock passive up Sejuani and take a lot more damage than they should be allowed to.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And also, it's just Trundle is completely invincible. at that point in the game as well. So definitely something to keep your eyes on in those skirmishes. But both junglers starting on the top side of our map here, pathing towards that bottom lane, which I can't say I'm massively surprised about, honestly, with the way... I feel like this is one of those bottom lanes that doesn't look that exciting on the tin as Chignari gets engaged upon. Jack Spectre getting a couple of autos in as well. It doesn't look that exciting on the tin, but ultimately, if it starts going one way, it'll go that way very quickly.
Yeah, I really want to see how Heretics play out this bottom lane now, right? They're the ones with all of the sort of, you know, agency in the early laning phase. They had it in game number 2 to a point, and they didn't do too bad of it. Now I want to see, now that they're dealing with, you know, Zeri Yuumi, a nerfed Zeri at that, how much ability they have to kind of just bully this bottom lane around. Blurizor's on the bottom side. Ruby getting a really nice trade.
Big all in the mid lane. Sferu in trouble here. Does manage to get the pull back. Gets a bit of healing as well. The back of that one as Blurizor moves into the jungle. Lurok's here to contest his own blue buff, but doesn't have priority in his bottom lane. This should mean that Blurizor can just threaten this one, but the blue buff resets. Jack Spectre won't want to leave that bottom lane for too long.
No, and I mean,
he lands it again. Does not predict it. He's falling in the tower. First blood for Sparrow. Ruby oversteps.
that was sick. And I mean, just being able to pull him back under the Visions of Empire as well to slow him down. Great solo kill. And just capitalization on too much over eagerness for Ruby to try and find a solo kill of his own. And all the while, Blurizor also managed to steal away the blue buff.
And I feel like Zvero there was trying to look juicy, you know? He's like, Ruby's gonna go on me if I step further forward again, and baits Ruby in, finds that solo kill, and gets Heretics off to a good start. 500 gold lead, and now no summoners for Ruby, and there are 3 blue players in his lane. Ruby down once again, 0-2 on the Silas, and Heretics off to a flying start.
This is just excellent map reads from Heretics. Come back from the bottom side play, and they just immediately rotate up towards the mid lane. Let's get a look at the solo kill though, because like you say, Zoro makes himself look so juicy here, gets hit by the chain, maybe sure he could have looked to try and dodge it, flashes away, and as that claw comes back in, catches Ruby, dragged back underneath the tower. Then look at the wave, because now that it's shoved back in, Ruby feels the need to have to just walk up, right? He wants to be in XP range as some of these creeps die underneath Zoro's tower, and he just gets forced a little bit too far to the top side of the lane by Zoru's Vision of Empire again, and there's just too many players. Really well played on both kills, honestly, from Zoru. The first to initially find that solo kill, but also to kind of force Ruby into an uncomfortable position as well, so the rest of his team can collapse.
And it feels like the first play was like really mechanically well played by Zvero, and then the second play is like the team Heretics manipulating the map, manipulating the way that Ruby has to play, and punishing so hard. And now, massive lead to start this one off, and an all-in on the bottom side as well. Shigenari already having to use his cleanse, rooted up, but nothing more comes out from the bottom lane of Heretics. That was 2 summoners burnt there in trade for 3.
Yeah, Flash Cleanse gone. Now if they can actually stack away Heretics, get towards that bottom side, dive with Blurizor, maybe Zyro even has a little bit of priority in the next couple of minutes. It's a very viable target to try and snowball on the bottom side of the map. I really want to try and see Unicorns force something on the top side, to be honest with you. Scarface has been having a pretty good time up there. 10 CS up at the moment. And again, Sejuani, Renekton, the setup is as easy as you'd like. I don't think there's an easier combination to pull off with the Renekton in this meta at the moment. So to see Aibo kind of go relatively untouched in terms of just kind of being allowed to catch waves like this, for example. Definitely a little less over-eagerness for plays than I was expecting from Unicorns in this early game.
Yeah, I feel like when you think of Renekton and junglers that are easy to gank for him, it's like Nidalee and Elise are the 2 that like historically come to your mind, right? Sejuani is even easier than those. Like, it's even easier.
Be in range.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Instant procs the E, and then you can go for the Q on top of it. And if you've got your ult, it's a whole other category. So, feels like that could be an option for them. Lurix is currently on his wolves, could path up towards that side as his red buff will be coming up fairly shortly. Jack Spectre does take a Q on the bottom side, but so far so good for the Heretics, and a fairly slow start from the side of the Unicorns. They do have plenty of scaling, right, with the Silas and the Zeri. The Renekton not so much, but not as bad as it once was.
Yeah, so this is actually a fairly big concern. I saw this from, I believe it was a Vitality.Bee game, though my memory might be failing me here, where there was Swain, Yuumi, Renekton, and I think it was actually a Sejuani, funnily enough. Now, whilst Unicorns might not have a Swain, they kind of do have a Swain. And let me tell you right now, they were several thousand gold behind, but do you know what ended up happening? Dear Munchables, they couldn't die. And I do fear that, that was pretty close, that if Heretics don't snowball a lead to a point where they can find the target with White in, or, you know, some kind of pick off a Gravity Moment or something like this and immediately blow them up, they are going to get outdone in the longer team fights.
And I feel like it's one of those things as well where, yes, you can build healing resistance, or healing reduction, sorry. You can build the Mortal Wounds with an Oblivion Orb or an Executioner's or a Thornmail, but it only does so much. It doesn't feel that effective in League of Legends right now. A lot of the time, it doesn't feel like it does a whole lot of anything until you see the sheer amount of healing that comes through when you don't have the healing reduction.
It's that weird thing right now in the meta, right? It's like you don't have anti-heal, champions heal to full HP. You have anti-heal, they heal to like 85% anyway, so like,
Yeah, is it worth it is the question, but we'll have to find out. Is Heretics so far so good at least? They do have the lead, and it's a question of if they can continue that snowball. Aibo used to being the weak side on that top side, and we haven't really seen Blue Resort focus on the top lane across the course of this series so far. Has focused on the Heralds, but not necessarily influencing the top lane itself.
Yeah, definitely a bit of a strange one. And again, I return back to my point that I also want to see focus from Unicorns up there. Finally, like you say, I mean, it's only been Heralds, not so much topside this series. I think definitely now that the level 6s are in, you know, there's a lot more to play for Heretics, right? Subjugate makes one of those targets super squishy, very easy to burst down, and it just seems like with, you know, a middling priority in the mid, or in the top lane rather, and the fact that Zoyru can make his way over here with White in from the bottom lane, they can just very easily secure this, and Unicorns are going to be able to trade it for anything.
Yeah, so far so good. Heretics is Shigenari going to return to the bottom side. They're actually going to hop off of the shoulders here and join the jungle for a little bit. Let Shigenari get some solo experience, as this Zeri is going to need to be a powerhouse later on into the game. And I will say, in late game team fights, if you try and look at AD carries in isolation, which granted, you're not often going to see a 1v1 between AD carries in the late game, Zeri is going to do well into an Aphelios in terms of just outranging, right? It's going to be difficult for, unless you can get a really good Gale Force with a Gravitum, it's difficult for the Aphelios to ever get close to that Zeri. And it feels like that's kind of a similar story for pretty much this whole composition inside of Heretics, unless Shigenari walks into Jack, but we'll be able to zip over the wall here.
Yeah, now, here's the thing, even though Lurox is here, sure, Cleanse is available, so the ultimate kind of just gets cleansed away. Probably should be able to walk it off without Winsome having that ultimate available in his own pocket as well. So they're just going to disengage from the plate. Shigenari will be joined once again by Winsome. That 2v2 will ensue. I think the next real big question is, where is Blue Resort going to go with this Rift Herald, right? He's in the mid lane, kind of pathing down towards the bottom side, potentially. Dragon's also up. We've been seeing these first Dragons go down roughly at this time, all right? 9 to 12 minutes has been when they've been going down. Could this be a potential start-up? But with Unicorns having priority in the bottom side, it seems like they're having second guesses about where to go at.
Yeah, it has felt like Heretics have been the ones to put their best foot forward in the first few minutes of the game, right? And like you say, the sort of 10 to 12 minutes mark has been when they're going for these Drakes. And you can see that Blue Resort wants to continue that trend, but has the Herald in his back pocket, would love to give that gold over to Jack Spectra if he could, but whether or not that's possible is down to the fact that we've got plenty of players moving to this bottom side from both teams. This could well be a 4v4 over the Drake.
It could. And the thing to know is that Ruby has his ultimate available, should be able to steal away Sueno if he feels like it's going to ensue into something major. And I mean, Pits are starting to come through a little bit here. Heretics need to be a bit careful.
It feels like both teams are nervous to actually commit though. Shigenari zips over the wall, just Zeri things as he gets out to safety there. White-in trying to find the engage, but it won't quite work out. Now priority in that bottom side, and Heretics feel comfortable to start the Drake off, but Lurox poking his head in, just showing that he's still sticking around. He's still a part of this play. Good bit of fancy footwork there. Is now the bottom lane starts to move over. Jack Spectra less than half HP, and Ruby's moving over as well. We could have a fight for the Drake here. It's smited as Jack Spectra flashes out with the roots across the team. Oh, Ruby never even gets to press the ultimate. He steals it but can't use it. And now the chase down from Blue Resort as Lurox goes down. A double kill. Shigenari next on the chopping block, forced to flash and cleanse. And Heretics 2 more on the board.
Oh, if Ruby could get that ultimate off, he gets the bonus HP. Maybe he's able to sustain through some of that damage, but now dies again, third time in a row, not having the best game so far. Poor Ruby, focused down by Heretics yet again. in this exchange. Get an immediate replay, see what exactly happens. So Heretics made the call to just burst out the Dragon. They know that Lurox could potentially get in range for the smite, but it doesn't end up coming through. Ruby dashes in, forces Jack Spectre over the wall, but it's a bunch of the bursts from everybody who turns around onto the Silas on top of just Jack Spectre's ultimate as well. Flashes come through to follow onto Lurox, and realistically, Unicorn just didn't have a strong angle to get into this team fight and actually find a target to burst down straight away.
Man, that CC chain onto Ruby as well. He was
Nasty.
CC'd from 100% to 0 in that fight. Still doing okay on the CS, but 0-3-0. It's not a good start to things for our Silas player in the mid lane. And Heretics, you said that they needed to snowball here. They needed to maintain and build that lead. It's working out for them so far. I just want to quickly mention as well the build from Ivo here. Actually go for the Gore Drinker rather than the Eclipse.
Definitely very interesting. So obviously, Gore Drinker is... Oh no, Herald denied. Well, not the best use from the Heretics. I mean, I guess it was probably about to time out. We're 12 minutes into the game, so... Of course, Herald, for those that don't know, you can only hold on to it for 4 minutes, so... It seems like they were just trying to get the best out of the objective that they could. This rotation could actually mean Shiganari.
Yeah, big pressure out from Heretics here. Shiganari will just dash out. You know, there is a pillar there, but he'll be fine. But this is the actual goal of the play, right? Jack Spectre hammering away on this bottom lane tower. The rest of Heretics trying to zone for the time being. They move in to finish the tower. There we go. First tower of the game, and now they get to go on to the Zeri as well. Why not have a bonus kill on the back of a great macro play?
Yeah, I mean, really nice stuff from Heretics. First the rotation, then the pick, and they need to continue to do this as well. Don't forget, spoke about how there's just so much sustain available to a bunch of the Unicorns members. Once the Yuumi comes online, once Swain also able to be stolen, the front line is massive. But if Heretics can continually just burst down the first target that they find, the team fights are going to go as one-sided as this. And they're just going to get the tier 2.
I mean, it's a Trundle and a red-white Aphelios. They just shred towers. Tier 2 taken at 13.5 minutes into the game. It's a 5,000 gold lead, 5,500 gold lead almost for the Heretics here. And wow, what a statement in game number 3. The analysts both predicted Heretics coming into this one. They seemed a little unsure, but I mean, Heretics aren't.
No, they are very sure of themselves right now. Going for all of these plays pretty much off cooldown, it feels like. And I really got to say, massive step up from groups in particular, where it kind of felt like it may be a repeat story of Spring, where, you know, Spanish first seed makes it to quarters, gets knocked out. But right now, really putting up a huge, huge fight here into the Unicorns Sexy Edition. And with this 5k gold lead, can effectively do whatever they want on the map. The Herald is up and available for them to take. I expect that the priority is going to be on that. Just try and keep the tempo really high so far.
Yeah, and it feels like Blue Resort versus Lurox, honestly, has been the matchup to watch in this series so far, where we're seeing between the different games, it's down to which jungler can control the game. Lurox in game number 2 looked incredible. Oh, Ruby, not again, surely. He just get away with his life. But this time, it's Blue Resort completely in control of the game. 3 neutral objectives once more. Heretics completely dominant in the map right now. Scarface moving away, will be able to walk out with his life here. The ward was spotted, but not quite cleared.
Yeah, and also, I just want to pull everyone's attention to Zoyoro's build for a second, because we've spoken about how much sustain this Unicorn side could potentially have. Not only immediately picking up the Oblivion Orb, but going towards, as opposed to the Rylai's Rush, which I feel like is maybe slightly more common in comparison to the Leandries straight after. The Leandries plus this Oblivion Orb, such a strong combo because the dot burn keeps the anti-heal applied for longer. So just ensuring that as he is going to be the one that's in the mix of everybody, most likely, he is applying that anti-heal, but also keeping it on them, even if they're outside of his range.
Yeah, big value on just the burn alone as well, right? Just the big damage that you're going to get across. When you look at how tanky this team is going to be with a Renekton, with a Sejuani, you can see that there will be value there. It's just a matter of execution in these fights as well, because Heretics, as you said, need to keep themselves ahead, and that is CC chain and a half. See you later. Zvero goes down. The Leandries didn't help him there.
No, wasn't even able to use his flash or ultimate, and now Ruby uses the subjugate. And they're going to just slowly maraud forward.
I feel like both teams are so nervous to have the game.
Scarface is
more though, because Scarface behind enemy lines. Bruiser trying to escape, dodges away from the chains, and it's Scarface to go down instead. Ivo gets the best of the flanks as Lurox forced to flash. And it will just be the one for Heretics in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Lurox doesn't commit forward with his solo laner's there, and they're not able to get the permafrost stun onto Blurazor, and because of that, they can't burst him down, potentially turn onto other targets. Meanwhile, Shiganari as well, top side, he's nowhere near this fight. He's not even going to be able to pick up the tower because the teleport comes through from the Swain that was picked off.
A Herald,
and now there's a Herald as well, so Heretics, sure, they lose out on the initial mid lane pick, but now they also get 2 towers and the pick, and maybe another one on top of that on Ruby.
Ruby thought he was getting the flank, but it turns out he's just getting outnumbered instead. Knocked up, low on HP. The Zenith Blade keeps him in one place. Blurazor there just takes a bite out of him before he goes down. It's a kill into the pocket of Jack Spectra of all people. And now with the Drake on top of it, look at the speed at which this snowball is kicking off. There is 1,000 gold lead for every kill that Heretics have.
That's an impressive stat, isn't it? And it gets better because it's a cloud sword. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Oh, wait.
Okay.
But this is a good value one. Swain, zoom in.
Speaking of,
yeah.
currently zooming against Lurox, just trying to protect the jungle here. I don't think much more will come of this one, as Severo does need to be a little cautious. Could be dived here, but it doesn't look like Unicorns are going to come in.
Yeah, they don't want to bite. They don't actually know where the rest of Heretics are. Of course, having just made the play to get the dragon, have a pretty good idea that they would have reset and could very easily respond to this play on the top side. So back away, good call. It's really high value for the Aatrox, Joe. All right, enough promoting for the Cloud Soul. I've done enough of this game. Unless they get the soul, and then you really see the power.
No,
that's
get off his cape.
No.
He's going to rip.
Oh, they're just playing fetch. You see, he threw something for him to go catch.
It didn't look that friendly, though. That is not a well-trained dog. I have to say, Jack, get it together, man. Get that dog trained. If you can't do it yourself, pay someone. I'm assuming it's not his real dog.
No, well,
I don't think he has a world skin. Jack.
No, he doesn't. Weird assumption, Joe. All right, game. Back to it.
Oh, if you want to. If that's all right with you. If that's okay with Gulborg. We should check with Gulborg,
we need to check with Gulborg
before we transition to anything. 19 minutes on the clock here. Do you know what? I'm going to go off on a whim and assume that we're okay to talk about the game here. 8,000 gold lead. It's domination from Heretics here, as they honestly kind of got dominated in game number 2. This feels like they are back on top of things. Gulborg has given us the thumbs up to talk about the game. That's good, that's good. We're on track with what's allowed, and Heretics are on track with just keeping the ball rolling. Jamada, you said they need to snowball fast before the healing comes online. Well, it looks like they're on a timer themselves. They want to get to dinner.
They're speedrunning. They had something ready to be delivered. Or maybe they got a hot date somewhere. As they're pushing up for the inhib tower, actually. And Unicorns are nowhere near to defend just now. This tower will drop when a fight ensues.
Jeez, it's only 19 minutes. Shiganari forced to flash as well. Moonlight Vigil Caliprim, is it there? Yes, no. What? Yes, it is. The overlay was slow. It's a double kill for Jack Spectra. As the Heretics, I mean, this is just mind-blowing. We're 20 minutes in.
They have a wave.
Be able to end.
They have a wave. 20 seconds on Shiganari, 30 on Scarface. The wave clear's not there, Joe. Heretics, they have the ultimate from Zoiru as well to use on the Swain, and this Nexus tower, the first of the 2 is dropped.
There's one down. Can they keep this one going? Jack Spectra half HP. Ruby trying to get the flank here as Lurox clears the wave. Heretics will be forced away for the time being, but man, the pressure that they are putting Unicorns under. And you know, we asked what had to change for Heretics coming into game number 3. Apparently the answer is put pressure on Ruby.
That pressure has worked so well, and just shutting him down. Kind of had a brief talk about it in the pre-show where, you know, Ruby very commonly can be the backbone, the rock. That stabilizes a lot of how Unicorns play, and if he's behind, it feels like the rest of the Unicorns potentially doesn't, you know, fully operate at 100% here as Shiganari forced to flash away. And I thought for a second maybe they could look for something here, but yeah, again, ultimate from Jack Spectra able to take down Shiganari, then of course Necton drops very soon after, and they're actually toying with the idea of not taking down the inhibitor, but then they realized it was 20 minutes, so perfectly fine to do it, and now they're onto the Baron. They're on speedrun time.
They absolutely are. I mean, Shiganari's still in the base. There's realistically no way that this is contestable. This has to be a miracle steal for Lurox, but as you say, it ain't happening. Good little bit of fancy footwork. Lurox flashes back over. Solar Flare, Ibo's there, and it's a kill for Jack Spectra as Ruby tries to get in as well. It's a valiant effort from the solo laners, but it just isn't enough. Aibo just won't die either as he goes for a 1 versus 3 as Pharaoh here to finish the kills. Blurizol moves in, takes 4 and give him all 5. Jack Spectra grabs the pentakill and Heretics look to end.
Heretics, with a dominant game number 3, are going to wrap it up with a pentakill for Jack Spectra on top of all of that. And they are going to go to series point, semi-finals point. And they are proving all of the analysts wrong pretty much. We all had Unicorns down as the series favorite. And right now, they're saying, hell no. We want our ticket to the semis.
And doing it in a 22-minute win as well. 20